Welcome to Tech Blueprint, a window that lets you know the latest technology news in the world. As the birthplace of semiconductor chips, the United States was the first to invent integrated circuits and transistors. After years of development, American technology has penetrated into all aspects of the global chip industry chain. Even semiconductor companies such as chip foundry giants TSMC, Samsung, and lithography machine giant ASML are more or less using American technology and equipment. It is no exaggeration to say that chips, as the food of modern industry, have always been an important part of the global industry. Huawei makes a comeback after the crash. The emergence of Huawei Kirin chips made the territory of major Eastern companies, especially Qualcomm, feel threatened for the first time, because it was like a sharp blade that fiercely inserted into the heart of the core American companies, while Huawei's peak could take advantage of the victory and win directly. Huawei's most powerful chip is Huawei Kirin chips. However, the strong rise of Huawei Kirin chips not only affects the core profits of core American companies, but also Huawei 5G needs to shake the United States' hegemony in the telecommunications industry. In order to consolidate its hegemony, the United States will launch comprehensive sanctions against Huawei from the beginning of 2019 to target Huawei. First, the United States listed the list of organizations, then forcibly changed the chip supply rules, and finally single-handedly created the 5G security backdoor case. This series of sanctions directly hit Huawei's energy. Not only were its mobile phones and 5G businesses hit hard, but the core was unavailable, and the situation was embarrassing and shocking. After Huawei fell, Qualcomm and Apple became the biggest beneficiaries, and the market share of domestic brands began to recover rapidly, which was simply a helpless move. However, through unremitting efforts and perseverance, Midea successfully achieved a breakthrough in just 3 years, and never had a supply interruption, and carried the Kirin Core Mate 60 series back to the end of August last year. According to data released by the media, it is worth noting that in the first quarter of this year, Huawei also returned to the top throne with 17% of the domestic smartphone market share, while Apple soon fell out of the top 5, which was not to be outdone. China Core is the beginning of a fire, and American companies have massively dismantled fortifications. In addition to the strong return of Huawei Kirin Core, China's chip industry has also frequently shown bright spots this year. For example, in the first quarter of this year, China's chip production increased by 40% year-on-year to 98 billion, while the number of imported chips fell by about 25%. More interestingly, according to the latest data from the National Bureau of Statistics, China's total chip production in the first half of this year was 207.11 billion, a year-on-year increase of 28.9%. According to this figure, we produce 1.15 billion chips every day, which should be called another big explosion of core China. This should be called another big breakthrough of core China, another big breakthrough. I think there are two main reasons why the production and self-sufficiency rate of domestic chips have developed so rapidly. One is the support of the government and domestic enterprises, and the other is the strength of mainland chip manufacturers. As we all know, after Huawei was sanctioned, domestic enterprises embarked on the road of independent research and development, further reducing the number of imported chips in the fields of computers, televisions, new energy vehicles, etc., and replacing most of the imported chips with domestic chips, which has undoubtedly become a powerful force to accelerate the localization of chips. As the largest chip manufacturer in mainland China, SMIC has also done a lot of work in recent years. It has not only invested hundreds of billions of dollars to build 4 wafer fabs in Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen and Tianjin, but also gradually realized localized operations. Data shows that SMIC's monthly production capacity has exceeded 800,000 pieces, and orders from Chinese companies account for 81%, completely getting rid of its dependence on orders from American companies. The demand for lithography technology has also increased with the expansion of chip production capacity. According to reports, about 88 lithography machines were imported in the first half of this year, and China once again became ASML's largest customer. In fact, in recent years, we have also made frequent breakthroughs in the field of lithography machines. For example, Harbin Institute of Technology has mastered the three core technologies of EUV lithography machines, and Shanghai Microelectronics has also conquered the core technology of 28-nanometer lithography machines, which are currently being tested. Once we achieve self-sufficiency in low-light lithography technology, we will get rid of our dependence on ASML in the future, and we will have our own industrial chain to create perfect semiconductor chips. Once we achieve self-sufficiency in low-light lithography technology, we will get rid of our dependence on ASML in the future, and we will have our own industrial chain to create perfect semiconductor chips. As the saying goes, there are no bruises on thick skin. Since ancient times, heroes have been unable to resist the temptation of beauty. This has dealt a serious blow to our semiconductor chip industry. In recent years, the US sanctions on Chinese companies such as Huawei have inspired us to continue on the road of self-exploration, otherwise our chips would not rise so fast. Now Huawei's Kirin chips have made a significant comeback, and the self-sufficiency rate and production capacity of domestic chips have also begun. I believe that it will not be long before we can break the embargo and achieve this goal, fully realizing 70% chip localization, and Chinese chips will inevitably rise sharply. China's chip production capacity has exploded, with more than 200 billion chips produced in the first half of the year. Huawei's Kirin chips have made a strong comeback, and the self-sufficiency rate of domestic chips has increased. US sanctions have accelerated the development of domestic chips, and manufacturers such as SMIC have expanded production. Breakthroughs have been made in lithography machine technology, and it is expected that full localization of chips will be achieved in the future.